show you guys something. This is my favorite. This is my favorite disconnect between more inherently casual Tekken players and very competitive Tekken players. And I mention it because, let's turn off the Sonic music. Hold the fuck up, chat. Hold up. Let's turn off the Sonic music. I love Into the Wind, but we gotta turn it off real quick. I love that there's a huge disconnect between the types of players who play fighting games. You have people on one end who are extremely casual, and for the vast majority of anything competitive, nothing bothers them unless it's boring. And then you have people on the opposite end of the spectrum that love defense and think defense is like the pinnacle of fighting games. If you're good at it, doesn't matter how boring it is, you are peak gaming. From Tekken 7 to Tekken 8, there was a lot of things lost. Korean backdash got weaker. Oh shit. Okay. I just turned on big picture mode with my stick. I thought that button was broken. I swear to you, I thought that button was broken. Anyways, there was a lot of things changed. Korean backdashes were nerfed. They added chip damage. They added a new system mechanic in Heat that basically adds chip damage to fucking everything. Gives everyone superpowers to make the game more offensively focused. But there is one thing that was changed that honestly, I'm gonna be real. I halfway agree with, halfway disagree with. This guy's profile picture is freaking me out, so I gotta make sure to stay on that. I need to recreate that profile picture. I don't have the stomach for it, but it'd be sick. So let's talk stages. Let's talk Tekken 8 and the lack of infinite stages. For anyone who doesn't know, if you're not privy to Tekken or you're not privy to Tekken 8, if we go to the Tekken 8 stage list, you will see that Tekken 8 does not have any... Oh, there's a tier list maker for it. I don't want to make a tier list for it. I think I've already done that. But I did it in a very interesting and distinct way that actually mattered. There is a good few stages for Tekken 8. But I can tell you one thing about all the stages that exist for Tekken 8. Tekken 8, what I missed everything already? Yeah, I played against Cobra Tango, I played against Tang, and Crouch Medium Kick Driver sucks, and you cannot jab out of it. I don't know who the fuck gave Cobra that information. They were wrong. So, as you see here, there is apparently 21 stages in Tekken 8. There are a few that are basically the same. They're 20 by 20s squares, they're 20 by 20s arena, like circular or octagonal, and then there's some that have stage gimmicks, that have stage hazards along the lines of something like an Injustice or a Dead or Alive. There is a lot of Dead or Alive DNA in this game because there are Dead or Alive developers on Tekken 8, right? But there's something missing from this game that's been traditionally, that's something that's existed in a lot of Tekken games, if I'm not mistaken. Tekken has always had an infinite stage, right? Or most of the Tekken games have had some amount of infinite stages. I believe even the older Tekken games, before 3, all had infinite stages. I think it was all the way up to like Tekken Tag, right? They all had infinite stages. No walls. They added walls in 4. Sometimes walls were really broken when you were playing characters like Steve Fox. Other times walls were fine. They were peachy and dandy. And it was really the offset terrain that really fucked you up. The biggest stages in the game are Coliseum of Fate and Yakushima. Is it called Yakushima? Yeah, the Yakushima Shrine, Yakushima Tree, whatever it would be called. This stage is, there's no stage gimmick. And as you can see from the picture, it is a 58 by 70 units. The next biggest stage, or the stage slightly bigger than it, would be Yakushima at, I believe, 72 by 72? 80 by 120. So very big, right? Inherently, you're not supposed to make it to the wall on these stages whenever you think of traditional Tekken. Unless someone is in just backdashing for their life and playing as defensive as possible, running away from you, and attempting to only nickel and dime in a style that would have worked perfectly in Tekken 7, but doesn't work in this game because of chip damage, you cannot do this. But with how strong Heat offense is, and how good and long combo damage and wall carry is, there will be instances, are you okay? There will be instances where, unfortunately, you will end up seeing a wall on a stage like Yakushima or Coliseum. Some people have taken to social media to say they want endless stages back. Now, I have some thoughts. When you think of endless stages traditionally in Tekken 7, they were a problem. But they were only a problem for one reason that's very easily solved. But before we get to that, we can look at what Tekken 8 could do about infinite stages. Do I think that infinite stages could exist in Tekken 8? Yes, I do. I think the amount of strong offense and good wall carry, good advancing normals in Tekken 8 make it a lot harder for you to just run from your opponent forever. You cannot play that same game plan and have it be as effective because the amount of damage you receive off of many more things than something like just counter hit 4 or a random hop kick in Tekken 7 is astronomical. You are taking large amounts of damage from attempting to try to run away from your opponent in a lot of situations in Tekken 8. And I think that that inherently is a good thing. I don't hate that. But what got Tekken to remove, or the Tekken team probably to remove infinite stages looking from 7 into 8, was probably how they were used in Tekken 7. Because the problem with Tekken 7 was that defense was very good and offense was very good, but offense was so good that people were scared to play offense, and the defense reigned supreme. That's the way I have to describe it. And with how good defense was, though offense was strong, running away was an extremely powerful strat for characters with evasive movement and good backdashes. Zafina, Alisa, I don't know, fucking name a few more. Those are the ones I think of the most. I guess Kunimitsu, right? Some of the female characters, very good at running away. The same way a character like King is very good on Forgotten Temple. Characters with really good backdashes are extremely powerful on infinite stages. We have a solution for that. And the solution is not hard. It's been shown by other games already, and I'm so surprised that we haven't seen it be utilized. Why haven't they done a pick ban system for Tekken? And for all the 3D fighters, because I believe stages are truly important. I do not believe stages are something that should just be fucking random selected, because they mean too much to too many different matchups in multiple fighting games. It's not just Tekken, it's not just Soul Calibur. The same thing exists in DOA, the same thing exists in Virtual Fighter. And yet, for some reason, our dumb, old, FGC antiquated brains won't look alongside of our peers who have a perfectly good system when you look at something like Brawlhalla or Smash, when you look at the platform fighters. They understand that stages matter. And I want to say that stages matter almost as much for 3D fighters, maybe not 2D, this is irrelevant, for 3D fighters as much as they do for platform fighters. It's not too terribly different. I just named an example, right? You don't want to ever fight King on Forgotten Temple. Let's be real, from Tekken 8 or Tekken 7. You do not want to fight King on Forgotten Temple. I do not want to fight Kunimitsu or Zafina on Infinite Stage. I don't want to fucking do it. I don't want to fight Paul on the smallest, most enclosed stage ever in any Tekken. It doesn't matter which one he is. It doesn't matter if he's good or bad. I don't want to get death at the fucking wall. Okay? Like, just inherent things that are no-goes in Tekken. But when you have a stage list or a stage select system that is inherently random, you are more likely to run into those stages that are awful for you. I heard a content creator, I will not say who it was because I don't want them to sound like an idiot. They're very large. They're way larger than me, mostly known for 2D fighters like Guilty Gear and Street Fighter, who said, yes, we couldn't have a ban system for Tekken 7 because if you use Dave's stupid rule, then they would just go to another infinite stage. No, you fucking troglodyte. You would count all of the infinite stages together because it's just a skin of a stage. That's like if they had Final Destination and they had the Omega versions. If you ban Final Destination, you cannot use the Omega version. If you ban Battlefield, you cannot use the Battlefield version of the non-Battlefield stages in something like Smash Ultimate. It's very simple, very easy, totally just a concept that you do not have to think about or give any extra thought to. No weight is behind what was said, right? Because if you know anything about Smash, you know how DSR works. DSR is Dave's stupid rule. It means that you cannot pick the same stage that you've already won on. The only way to re-win on that stage is the gentleman or your opponent picks it. Right? So if you win on an infinite stage or you win on a large stage like Coliseum or Yakushima, you cannot go back to it in a set unless your opponent picks it. Now, they could also have not just a stage pick system, but they could have a ban system as well. Because that's what Smash does. I personally just think losers should select stage and there should be no bans. I don't think we need bans. There's not enough stages, really, and a lot of them are very similar, that like banning doesn't really feel like it is super necessary. It mostly feels like it's a catch-all to like just say, I'm getting rid of Infinite Complete, or I'm getting rid of the 20x20s, right? In something like Tekken 8, you would get rid of the square 20x20, so you'd get rid of like New York Times Square, or whatever it is. I think that the system already exists, and if you use a system like that, infinite stages could come back to Tekken 8, no problem at all. I think if that system existed in Tekken 7, instead of just having a pick system, there would have been no problem at all with infinite stages. Because one of the problems that happened, that arose a lot, was players that were playing characters like Kunimitsu, Shadow 20Z, and Arslan Ash would roll random for the first stage, and guess what? They would get an infinite stage, and they would win. And then they would lose on a stage that their opponent picked. And then they got to pick again, and they would go back to infinite stage. And they would only win games on infinite stage. I believe there was a tournament set during Tekken 7 where it was 3-2 Arslan Ash's favor, and he only won games on, guess what? Infinite stage. So if you make it so that players have to be more well-rounded, are not allowed to pick the same stage again, but we do not random, Infinite stages can come back no problem. And I believe infinite stages wouldn't have been an issue or as big of an issue, let me correct myself, as they were in Tekken 7 as well. Where do I sit on this side of the fence? I'm sure you guys can tell. I think Tekken 8 is a fucking... It's how do I describe this without being inherently negative towards Tekken 8? It's a very high power game with lots of room to tilt you. I don't think it matters if they bring back infinite stages. I think bringing back infinite stage would be the least of our worries. I think it would actually help open up the defense for a lot of players who want to play that more backdash heavy game. Cool, no problem. Some people here, like more of the casual minded players, are like, no, you guys are just gonna run away from us. See, no, so people can back up indefinitely. I actually want a boss area or an elevator stage. Let's see how that works. Because wall combos are carrying some people. You see, so some people are on the opposite end where they're like, no, I need infinite stage. This is the mindset of I only pick Final Destination when playing Smash. And this is the mindset of, oh my God, you picked a zoner in Mortal Kombat. How fucking dare you? This is the difference in how often the community feels split. And these are just two like random people on the internet. I'm sure if I posed the same question on Twitter, I have more competitively minded folk on Twitter, so I would probably get more nuanced opinions if there's enough room in the Twitter typing sphere. But I would get more nuanced opinions, but mostly about not getting infinite stages back because of the negative connotations from Tekken 7. That doesn't matter because we're playing a completely different game. Get that shit out of your fucking head. That's like being mad at a top tier character from last game. It's like being mad at Smash 4 Bayonetta when Smash Ultimate's out now. Okay, that's like being mad at Meta Knight from Brawl and we're already on Smash Ultimate. Get over it, bro. If you're not playing Brawl, get over it. It's like he's not the same character anymore. It's not the same game anymore. I think they could come back. I think they'd come back with little to no issues. I think that very defensive-minded players will love them, but more offensive players will dislike them. There's already enough stuff in this game for more offensive-minded players, if I'm quite honest. Most of the things in this game favor offense over defense. So I think having an infinite stage or having two infinite stages is not a big deal. And if they are used in tournament, we just have to have a pick ban system. And I think we should have had a pick ban system from the beginning. I don't think we should have been random selecting stages. I'm a huge fan of all 3D fighters having stage picks over random select. It's the worst fucking thing you can have in something like a 3D fighter because stages matter so much towards matchups. Having to see someone play well on a stage that's inherently bad for them isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's why I don't really want bans. I mostly just want people to be able to pick the stage and not be able to go back to the same stage they won on. That's really it. The ban comes from, oh, you won here, it's striked. We can't go back unless I pick it, right? Because I love seeing characters fight very well versus a character like Ivy in Soul Calibur 6 on Ostrheinsburg Castle. If you go and you look up Ostrheinsburg Castle for Soul Calibur 6, you'll see that it is the biggest stage in the game with all walls. You are very unlikely to... You cannot ring anyone out on the stage, which means that Ivy can run away from you forever, and there is no inherent immediate punishment for her running away from you because she cannot get rung out. She can only get wall comboed, which guess what? A wall combo does not immediately kill you the same way a ring out does. I would love to see that, right? I would love to see a character fight against the monkey Eileen. Sounds so racist. The monkey kung fu girl Eileen on an all small enclosed stage where her offense shines, where she doesn't have to worry about getting in and using big risky moves to try to advance on her opponent. I would love to see someone play around that, but I don't want that to become how a matchup is determined. I don't want matchups to become deterministic because you won the role. And then now the opponent can just band for band trade with you on wins and losses because you can go back to the same stage over and over. That is my take on it. I think it's a pretty measured take. I think it's reasonable. I know that I sit on the wrong side of the fence for a lot of people. People think infinite stages should not come back and that there's no reason to have something like Dave's stupid rule and picks / bans in 3D fighters, but I've been playing them for a long time. They're my favorite genre of fighting games. I love them all, even the ones that I fucking despise, like Tekken 7. I don't like Tekken 7, but I love all 3D fighters inherently. And I just want to see them played at the highest level possible and see the most amount of interaction and the least amount of non-games. And I think that that would be a great way to do it. And even with talking of bringing back infinite stages, I think infinite stages do not create non-games inherently by themselves. They create non-games in situations that are extremely niche, the same way something like King on Forgotten Temple should be fucking niche. Should happen maybe 1 or 2 games in a set. It shouldn't happen every game. Anyways, tell me what you guys think about people wanting infinite stages back in Tekken 8. Would it ruin the game? Would it make the game better? Do you think maybe if they added a pick/ban system or a Dave's stupid rule system to go along with adding infinite stages, at least for tournaments, less so for ranked, that it would be a good thing to see on the competitive circuit? Leave it all in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel where I sometimes decide to rant about fighting games and put out content on the internet. Otherwise, you'll just catch me on the Twitch streams where I play a variety of games, but I love fighting games and I'll always love fighting games. And this has been Beanie Thuggish for the YouTubes, signing out and saying peace.